Christina Applegate, Montel Williams, Selma Blair. What these three celebrities have in common is what nearly 1 million Americans are diagnosed with: multiple sclerosis. Joining us during National MS Awareness Month is Rich Maxwell, member of the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. Good to have you back.
Thank you. Good to be here.
And your daughter was diagnosed with MS. How old was she?
She was 22, just graduated college 3 months earlier.
And how old is she now?
She's 35 and is doing well. We're
That's
very pleased
to hear.
to say.
And I'd like to talk about what sort of the prognosis looks like, but also what the journey from 22 to 35 has looked like for her. From what I understand is typically you're diagnosed in your early adulthood with MS. So what were some of the signs that led to that diagnosis?
Well, she had kind of a heavy foot dragging around her apartment, and it annoyed her roommates in the apartment.
Oh.
What the final straw was, she was waitressing and dropped a whole tray of Bloody Marys.
Oh.
And she just kind of added it all together and said, something's not right here.
Yeah.
And so she went to the emergency room. They discharged her home because MS is a very difficult diagnosis to make. The next day she felt worse. She called us, and my wife and I were headed to Tennessee. But when she told us she was going back to the ER, we said, "Honey, we'll be there in 3 hours if you can wait long enough." So we were actually in the room with her when she was diagnosed.
Is that right? Well, at least she wasn't alone, and that's a really scary diagnosis. What is it exactly for those who aren't familiar?
It's called an autoimmune disease, which means that the body is attacking itself. All the white cells that keep us healthy go haywire, and they start attacking the body, particularly the central nervous system, which is all the nerves we've got, the brain, the optic nerve, and the spinal cord. When it attacks, when you have good, I always use it as a great example of a nerve line. It is like this piece of wire. In the center of it is the nerve cells themselves, but on the outside is a covering called myelin, just like there's a rubber covering on this. When the white cells begin attacking it, they create an opening here.
Oh, I see.
And if this was plugged in and we touched
it,
we get shocked.
Diagram, yeah.
And that's what is, you look at an MRI of a MS patient, and it's like all these spots lit up where you have these kinds of lesions.
So there's no cure for MS,
Correct.
But the medication therapies that are out there have been slowing the progression of the disease.
Yeah.
But you've since made a lot of advancements more recently. So is this helping to maybe reverse just a little bit some of the damage that the disease has done?
The disease-modifying therapies, which is the lingo in the MS world, don't reverse anything. They don't cure anything. What they do is they extend the length of time between when a patient has they have a relapse. So you get the right medicine, and it's going to increase the time between relapses, which means you don't have as many relapses over a period of time, and you have fewer of these.
I see. Is it typically an injection, the medication?
Well, there are
three
options out there. Okay. In the early 90s, we had one disease-modifying therapy. Today, we have over 20.
Wow.
And there are injectables, which the patient would inject themselves at home. There are oral medications, a pill, you take it, and there are infusions, which in my daughter's case, she comes in and has her infusion once every 6 months.
Well, you have an event that's coming up.
We do.
So please tell our audience how they can get involved.
Well, Walk MS is one of the fundraising events that we have every year in Charleston. It is a fundraising event where our goal this year is, I believe, $90,000. And the money goes for research, and it's going to be at the James Island Park at the WAPU Pavilion.
Wonderful.
And we hope to have a very, very successful event.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us and sharing the information. I think information is power, and if we can all get out there and support, we can see some research, maybe even find a cure for this disease.
That's what we're fighting for.
Hopefully. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll be back after this.